Alright, so here we have a Dodge Intrepid, and it's got an intermittent starter issue. And so I'm gonna show you a quick couple things on this. Of course, I've got Kitty. What are you doing, Kitty? You're gonna help? Are you helping today? You little girl. Wherever you put a fender cover, she's sure to show up. Anyway, here's your negative battery cable right here. And so what they do with this cable is you take that nut off of there, and then there's your nut. And what they do is they allow it to be pulled off, and then you can actually stick that piece right here to keep it out of the way. Isn't that kind of neat? And I still have that one to pull off too, because that one goes to the engine. I need to take these both off in order to do a starter. So I'll try and do that and get back with you. And here we have our kitty. Uh-oh, we got kitty kisses. Huh? What are you doing, baby girl? Are you a good kitty? Good kitty. Alright, so just doing a simple starter, and you'll see that it's behind. This is that's the shield to keep it from getting close to the exhaust here. That's going to come off. But what I wanted to show you, this ground wire bolts right in here, and the first thing you have to do is you got to take that ground wire off, because up above it you can see it without breaking my camera. Here's the top bolt right there. Let's see if I can. This thing's hard to get my hand up in there. See that very top bolt? Not this hole here, but way up here. So this sits right up against the block, and so you can't get a wrench up here on this top bolt. So you've got to take this one first, and then you can push that ground wire out of the way and you can get access to that one. Then the one below it is right here. You can see it right there, and you can see that the starter is fairly loose. But that's, and then on the very, very top, which you probably can't see, let's see if I can get my, right here, there's another bolt that holds that shield on right there, and then there's one right in there. Let me see if I can get my drop light back up here so you can kind of have a better look. Right there. And then that whole shield comes out of there. Then you can gain access to the wires going to the solenoid. Now this is about a 2-hour job according to Chilton's manual, and I believe it too. Alright, now I can pull that back and I can slide that out. Now you can see, you can gain access to those wires right there that are part of that electrical. I'll have to unplug this one right here, And right back in here is the electrical for the battery. You have to take that one off. I believe these are 13 millimeter. Those will have to come off. And also, this is the wrench that I used to take that shield off. There it is. It's just a little blue point, but see, it's an 8 millimeter ratcheting, and it had just a perfect angle on it to get to the very top bolt right up in here. It was perfect for it. I was able to go down here and get this end one off as well. It was pretty easy. So that's a pretty nice little ratcheting wrench there. Again, it is a blue point, but you can find them from gear, some sort of Gear Wrench would be the other company that you can get these from, and it just got a regular open end over here. But that gets you back in there where you can get that out. Right now, see that connector's got to come loose. I've got the other bolt just finger tight, but I wanted to show you also what this is. This is just, you know, people bang on me about Harbor Freight, using Harbor Freight tools, but I'll tell you what I've done here. As you can see, that I've actually heated this up and I've bent it over a little bit, and the reason why is because I put these two, this is just regular old needle nose, they're just an extended reach, but I bent these over so I can get a little bit of better bite on things. And since these pliers are fairly cheap, I try to buy several pairs of these and modify them any which way I can. So get up in there on that starter. Let me see if I can do this with one hand. And so got that on that, and you can just squeeze it just a little bit and start working it out of there. There she is. Not that big a deal. But what I find is that these parts get old. The plastic connector up here, it gets old from the heat, and it gets really hard to work with. And a lot of times too, each finger in there, and you have to get back behind there, and you got to push your finger along like this till you get to the end, and you kind of feel where the end of that bolt is. That's kind of how you got to use your fingers. If you're a DIYer and you don't have the dexterity, there's your bolt. Now you got to remember too that this electrical, this piece has to be pulled kind of out of the way so you don't get that all jammed up. And then this one, and you can feel it, it's way up in here. See how it is? It's back behind that starter ways. So you gotta get that starter kind of pulled out of the way. You gotta be careful with this cone too. That cone, starter cone is right up in there. And see, it's got to be pulled out. You got to turn that starter just so. Work it out. Remember that electrical is still on there. It's kind of hung up because it's got that harness is right there, and so it's got a heck of a, it's kind of in a bind right up in there. You can see that. When I pull on it, you know, you can see the starter moving. Of course, got my hand in the way of the light, but I'll set that camera down and I'll do a little bit more here and I'll try to get you a better view. Alright, let's see if the shop foreman's still up here goofing around. Oh yeah, taking a bath. Alright. I think if I could take this little hook tool here, is just a little cheapy. Sometimes you can get up in there right behind that wiring harness and that plug connector. You don't make them easy, that's for sure. Do this. Yeah, I thought there was a coming from the back, maybe. That doesn't seem like that's doing much good either. Get my weird pliers up in there. Tilt it down, nice and easy. Yeah, see that, and that there's not a lot of give in that wire, you know. Make sure my freeze plug looks okay. Aluminum block, 2.7 liter. Don't see a lot of external rust on it. Of course, they can always get a little tiny pinhole and start peeing. And when they do, then they get on the starter and the starter won't go. Or right here, you see my finger right up in there. I'll get the drop light here. I'll show you. That out of the way. This is another leak point right here. Where my finger is, that is the head gasket on the passenger side. And what happens is that thing will start peeing out of one of these corners right there, and it'll get down on that starter and it'll burn that starter out. There's your exhaust manifold right here. So now let's see if we can get that other new starter up inside there. Be just as big a pain in the butt to get out, or to put it in, as this old one was. This right here. Oops, get that thing out. There we go. There's that other bolt I was telling you on top. And so that little tiny wrench, see how that fit in there real nice when you're up inside there. So I'll go ahead and kind of get that apart, because you won't care about seeing that. Shaky and bouncy, everything else in the back. Once I got both hands up in there, you can see, I had to pry it just a little bit to get it over that, and then as it sets in there naturally, you can see it kind of holds up against that wiring. And then you've got to make sure that each one of those tabs is in there, so that it doesn't rock back and forth. If it does, then it'll get loose on you and short out. Alright, there's your starter mounting bolts. I've got that connector in there and tight now, and then I plugged the other one in on top. As you can see, push it up in there. It didn't go as far as the other one did, but they're both Chrysler starters, which I prefer to use OEM parts if I can. And then so there's bolts here, and then of course we're going into aluminum, so what I like to do is take a little Q-tip covered grease, and I'll just put a little bit in there. While I'm holding the camera, I can magically do this. And I think that'll be okay. And then we'll put that back in there, and that's a grease dude. Alright, so I buttoned up the starter down below, and I'm going to show you how I cheated on that wire, that positive wire. And the way I did, now they tell you to take that negative off of there, which is a good deal, but this positive, what I found is, see that give, just that much give, got it to where I could put that starter on and hook that wire up down below. And it doesn't actually say to do that in the book, so if you start chasing it, this is what you'll find. And that thing just pops right in there. There it goes, and just clips right into place. And then there's one bolt here. And get that tightened up. And then this one here, move that one out of the way, and then we're going to put this one back in there. And that little keeper has to pop into place. And after that happens, then you've got your shorter bolt here, or shorter nut, sorry, not to bolt. And then once that's done, this will go on top of that, and then this larger nut will go on there. And that should get us back into shape. So I'm going to go ahead and stop right there. Hope you had a good time, or hope this was informative. I'll try to edit as much of the bouncing and the other stuff out of it. And we'll see you on the next one.